Brought to you by Powermouth Productions.
Powermouth. Welcome to season 3. Yes, season 3. I'm excited. Yes, it is season 3 of Speaking More Life. Powermouth Speaking More Life. And this is episode 21. And I am so thankful to be back again in the studio, back again, doing this podcast in season 3. And, to God be the glory. How are you? Okay, so by the way, I'm just going to introduce myself. For those of you who are new to Powermouth Speaking More Life, I am Glenna Oyajo, okay? I'm your host, Glenna Oyajo. Some people call me Coach Glenna. Whatever you want to call me. Well, actually, not whatever you want to call me. But yeah, Coach Glenna. Or Glenna Oyajo. You can use my full name if you want to use my full name. But I'm your host for this episode. And as I said, I'm super excited. And so we're going to just jump right into it. Okay, so the title for today's episode, the title that is starting off episode 21, or should I say season 3, episode 21, is Postnatal Depression, No Shame. Okay, postnatal depression, no shame. And for the next, there's going to be a few episodes that I'm going to just dedicate towards our health, because, we're speaking more life, okay? And our health has everything to do with life and more life. And so, I will be addressing some of the topics which I believe are a little bit more unspoken of, a bit more hush hush, or some may say even taboo. So I'm going to be looking at these topics from like a cultural standpoint. Okay, so this should be quite interesting. Now, I know that we're talking about postnatal depression, which is also known as postpartum depression, wherever you are situated or whatever you feel comfortable in saying. But it's not just really for the women, for the women listeners. Men, you can listen in too, because you may have wives, you may have partners that have gone through this, who are pregnant, who hopefully not will go through this. You may have other female relatives, in your family that have given birth as well. So I just believe that this is a good topic for men to sit in on and listen to as well. It's not just for us ladies, okay? We are here to support each other. Okay, so for those who may not be familiar with the term postnatal depression or postpartum depression, it is a type of depression, it states in its wording, and it can happen anytime in the first year after a woman gives birth, after a lady gives birth. And the symptoms that can be seen or found in a new mother would be persistent sadness. There may be like a lack of energy. They feel like withdrawn. They're withdrawn within. They're feeling tired all the time. And yes, as new mums, we get tired, and most of the time. But there's kind of like a difference there. There's no kind of like. I mean, I'm just thinking for myself, after giving birth, I'm like on a high kind of thing, I'm just like, wow, I've just given birth, I'm on a high. You got some excitement there as well. So I believe it's kind of like the opposite kind of that there's maybe no excitement about anything, and just difficulty looking after oneself and even the baby as well, and just feeling low. I mean, if you are with somebody consistently, them, they're your family member, partner, wife, and you know how they are, then these are the things you may pick up if there's a change in their kind of behavior as well. They're not like what they used to be. And we know that having babies, that it can be overwhelming, as well, but there is joy in it as well. So when you see somebody and they're like completely depleted of that joy, and they seem to have a really hard time, like they can't even take care of themselves, then that's when the red flags start to flag. So that's something to be really mindful of. And with postnatal depression, it can last for quite a while. And also, the mother may not even get it straight after giving birth. So she may be fine after, like excited and everything, and a bit tired and all the usual, but then it creeps up on her, and gradually this depression comes within. So hopefully you get a idea of what postnatal depression is. It is very serious. There are very serious cases of postnatal depression, and there are cases where it lasts for a certain amount of time and then it goes, and that mother is absolutely perfectly fine. I would just like to state that it is different from baby blues. I've been doing my research on the NHS, the National Health Service website, and yeah, when it comes to baby blues, that's quite normal for any mother to kind of feel as well, hormones and everything going off and doing its thing, and it doesn't usually last more than 2 weeks after giving birth. So that is a normal thing as well. It's when it continues on and you just see even more drastic changes within the mother. That's when now we're possibly looking at postnatal depression. Okay. I'd also like to note that a woman can experience depression within pregnancy as well. And maybe after she gives birth, she doesn't, she isn't depressed. But then again, if she's depressed in pregnancy, then more likely she may be depressed after she gives birth also as well, because a lot of things is going on with the woman's body. Now, I will be posting some links along with this episode as well, because I don't just want to just speak about this and kind of not give any practical help in terms of, providing any links for those who may require help in this certain situation of postnatal depression, because postnatal depression is real. Okay. And I've said, well, I believe it can be quite a hush hush subject, taboo subject. And, I'm from an Afro-Caribbean background as well. So when it comes to postnatal depression, my belief is that it's not really spoken about within my community. Okay, so within my kind of cultural, area, stance, whatever, position, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm talking about. So the title was Postnatal Depression, No Shame. And I had to add that at the end, because this is what we're talking about. Because those who have gone through postnatal depression, they feel ashamed about it. Now, you know me, I don't talk about anything that I don't really know about or have had an experience about. And postnatal depression, I have experienced it myself. Okay, so a little background to my story. When I was 19, I gave birth to two beautiful children, twins. Okay, so that was a shock to the system. I was looking forward to it. Right up to I was looking forward to it. I was good. Pregnancy was great, fantastic. Actually, it was really good. The birth was a bit traumatic in terms of there needed to be assistance with forceps and stuff. And sorry, I have to get so deep into it, but I'm just kind of just giving you a little background, whatever. It was a little bit more complicated, and we're talking like 25, nearly 26 years ago. Okay, so maybe now things may be a bit more simple or a bit more advanced or whatever, but when I was giving birth, it wasn't. It was like your full legs up in stirrups, up in the air, Oh gosh, I won't even go there. Anyway, so thank you, mummy, for being in the birthing room with me as well, and my husband John. Praise be to God, because I needed that support. So I believe with myself, as far back as I can remember, that it was a gradual attack of depression. It was gradual. It crept up on me as I, started to kind of reflect about my own feelings of rejection. And you've heard me talk about that. I've got a book called Killing Rejection. Because I didn't really have that relationship with my father. Now being a new parent, all of these questions arose. And then again, in regards to giving birth as well, that was quite traumatic because I nearly lost one of my twins. Right. So that was a lot for me to deal with. So, and to come home with just one baby. So even looking at that now, was it gradual? I believe it got stronger. I believe the intensity of my depression grew stronger. So I believe that I was even depressed even from the hospital. Now that I'm thinking back, oh my gosh, just like reliving this and just talking it through, yeah, there was quite a bit of sadness. Like my son isn't going to pull through as well. But I just had to get on with things. I had to get on with it. I had to, another baby to look after whilst my son was back in hospital. And I thank God for his healing, because God just restored him back, restored him. And he's such a great young man of 25 and a half. And I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of both my twins. But yeah, so there was a lot going on there in the emotional kind of realm of things, and being a new mother. And then of course I was saying before, my own issues that I carried as well, because I wasn't totally healed from my experiences of being rejected, so I had to deal with that as well. So as the depression got even more thicker and more dense, it was a horrible experience for me. I just was beside myself. Like I nearly lost my child, and then my mind is going back to like, well, why was I kind of abandoned as well? Not abandoned as a baby, but there was a divorce that took place in my childhood, of my parents. They got divorced, and there was just like no relationship there whatsoever, and I just felt totally abandoned. So I was dealing with that as well as being a teenager, because I was still a teenager. I might not have been the youngest of teenager, but I was a teenager. I was in my teens. I was 18 when I fell pregnant with my twins, and 19 when I gave birth. I remember going to the doctor's surgery and explaining how I was feeling, because the way I was feeling wasn't good. And I did not really show anybody else. I don't think anybody else could really tell, because I was so busy just seeing to my children and just doing what I needed to do. Like nobody could really see what I was going through. So I guess I did become withdrawn, but I was still sociable when I needed to be sociable, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically I was just putting on a mask, really, just to hide my inner pain and inner feelings of how I was really feeling, and very overwhelmed. I've got these two beautiful babies to look after, and I knew that I not going to leave these babies, abandon them. I love them. The overwhelming love and surge of love that you have as a parent for your babies, it's one thing, they're inside of you, and that bond builds, and then they're born, and then it's like, my goodness, this is like such a miracle. And it hits me every time. Every time I have a child, it's like, whoa, like, and I've had 6 children, but every time I've had a child, I'm still amazed at the wonder and the the miracle of God's creation, of creating this human being that lived with inside my belly and it's now here for me to hold. It's amazing. Let me get back to the doctor's office. So I was there and he prescribed me some antidepressants. Now, I even believe in this. I mean, everyone each to their own, but it was, but maybe they felt the need that I needed to take the depressant, sorry, tablets, pills. But I just feel like there could have just been a bit more like intervention, or I don't know. It just seemed so quick, you know. It just seemed really quick to just kind of give me those pills. But anyhow, I took them, and you know, really and truly, I did not last long on them because I just feel like they just didn't do anything for me. They just made me feel worse. For me, it was, I had to cry out to God and just really ask him to help me in this situation, of feeling depressed and everything. So I just feel like the Prozac wasn't helping me, man. It was making me feel worse. And just even back then, like, to be on Prozac, because that's one of the names, like, I heard, you know, being used for people that, well, they're just not right in their head, really. Well, that's what I heard, okay? So I'm not saying that, you know, and causing no offense to anybody or whatever. You know, you grow and you mature, and then you understand that, you know, there are certain pills that people need to take to deal with certain things. But I'm thankful that I did not have to be on it for that long. Did anybody know that I was depressed? I think I may have mentioned it to my mother, but it was something that I kept hush hush and didn't really say much about. And maybe that was one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to get off those pills quickly as well. And you know, I'm thankful for healing and that I got better and everything. But yeah, that was a long road, and some of it I can't remember the fullness of, because like I said, we're talking nearly 26 years ago, and a lot of things have happened since then as well. But I just wanted to address like this thing of being ashamed when it comes to postnatal depression, because I feel like not necessarily society, but sometimes it's within our own family members, own family can, or own culture, shall I say, depending on who it is, can make a person or make a mother feel like, well, you know, you've had this baby, just get on with it, and you're supposed to feel happy. You're supposed to feel joy because you have this newborn baby. And you know what? Yes, we are supposed to be happy and feel joy. New life, beautiful baby, yes, but I'm telling you, there are things that happen within a woman's life before she probably got pregnant, or even during the stage of her pregnancies, and even after, that she may have to deal with. And sometimes it's like it could be caused by hormonal imbalance. There's all kind of things. For me, like I said, it was me actually that, well, the traumatic experience of nearly losing my child, and on top of that, I'm now going back into, why was I not loved, or why was I, like, I felt like I was abandoned. Why was I abandoned? You know what I mean? So all of these things that kind of can hit a woman, you know, after she gives birth, and it's a lot. And so I just feel like there needs to be more support. And I'm saying this because the statistics that I've seen is more than 1 in 10 women will get depressed, will have postnatal depression. And it really needs the support of family members, of, you know, partners, of you know, mothers, family members, just the family, the community as well. And I just feel like it's so sad when, and I believe in some cultures where the woman is expected just to be almost like a goddess. um she can't express that she's going through a hard time, or she's embarrassed that she is going through postnatal depression, because it might make her feel or seem like she's not grateful for the gift that she was given, which is far from the truth. And so over the years, you know, I have spoken to other women, and they have, you know, kind of come out of the closet, so to speak, to say, I had postnatal depression as well, and they couldn't, and you know, they expressed how they couldn't tell anybody, or they felt ashamed of having postnatal depression, or they kept it quiet and they suffered in silence. And that is really that's really sad as well. And so I feel, as family members, we need to, as friends, as loved ones, we need to kind of keep our eye out, our ears out, our heart open to that loved one, that woman, that lady that has given birth. Thankfully for me, that was the first and the last, you know, postnatal depression that I had. I really do believe that why I had experienced it in the first place was obviously because I went through the trauma of nearly losing my son, quite traumatic birth, and also I was not healed from my past emotional pain of rejection, and so that impacted me really bad. And so by the time I had my other children, I had gone through healing. I was healed of that. And so therefore it was so much more a pleasant experience in terms of, you know, I was just always excited, and just, you know, when I wasn't tired, obviously. But you know, it was a different experience. And so I'm really grateful to God for bringing me through that depression that I was going through, and for me experiencing the other side of, you know, just really getting on with things and everything, and you know, not being hard on myself as well, and really blocking out any other expectations of anybody who's expecting me to wear an S on my chest, because I don't have an S on my chest. Okay, you know, it's God that puts the super on the natural, as my dear friend would say. So, you know, when it comes to anything that I lack in or anything that I need, guess who I'm calling on? Yeah, Jesus. And that's who I called on before, and I will continue to call on again. So I have had, you know, family members and friends who have given birth over time. And so because of my past experiences, I am mindful of what they may be experiencing, even if they produce a smile or I'm okay kind of thing, because sometimes it's that I'm okay, I'm good is the smoke screen to how they're really feeling. You know, there's all kinds of stuff going on, so I'm always making sure that I am praying that person up as well, and ask the question, how are you? You know, we like to ask, how's the baby? We forget about the mother went through a lot of changes, a lot of things going on with her body as well. She needs the attention as well, she needs the support as well. So, you know, it's this thing about, and I'm a black woman, if you didn't know that, if anybody didn't know that, I'm a black woman. Okay. And so, you know, over the years, you always kind of get this thing, you know, strong black women. You always hear people say strong black women. And yeah, great, you know, great. And I sighed because it ain't great at the same time, okay? Yes, we can be strong and resilient, and we may have to take on the world at times, but it doesn't mean that we don't have our weaknesses or that we may be vulnerable in areas as well. And so to just expect us black women just strong and nothing can kind of do us in is just like the wrong thinking, it really is. Because a human is a human, a mind is a mind. When you get hurt, you get hurt. We're not we don't have this defense system when it comes to emotional trauma or whatever. We don't have that. We are people. Okay. And so as much as it is nice to crown us as strong black women, and there is strength, I appreciate my mother. I would say she is a strong black woman as well, but I realize that, what, she has her weaknesses. And I realize that, you know there are some areas that she may have to deal with and that she may struggle in as well, because she's a human being. So for me to expect her to be this superwoman with an S on her chest and a cape that flies around, you know she has things that can affect her. There are and many of us do. A lot of us do. We have our kryptonites. I mean, some may agree with me, some may disagree. Some of you may disagree with me. I just believe that, a person is a person, and, there are times when we're strong and there's times when we will be weakened, when we will feel weak. And for me, it's not on my own strength I stand, it's I have to call on God for strength. I do. Okay. So I'm sure that, this may be something that really isn't much talked about in other cultures as well, or, mothers, women, wives may feel like they can't really express themselves when it comes to feeling depressed, especially after having a child as well, because it may be looked upon as an embarrassment or something to be shameful about, when it really is not. And that's why I just want it opened up right now, that, what, like, let us stop promoting this kind of like unreal expectation of mothers, and just, expect that maybe there may that they may need help in some areas as well. And ways in which we can all help, as I said, in giving support, is actually being around that person and asking as well. You know what, in some communities, some cultures, I just love how when a woman gives birth, they have their child, and then they just like all come together and they really help out. And I just believe that sometimes even this postnatal depression comes from a mother feeling lonely, you know, because they may not have another female member around, or they might not even have their partner around. So they might just be doing this thing by themselves. And even more so, we should be just alert that they may need our assistance at that time as well, especially as a single mother who is a first time mother, or she may have other children as well. For anyone who is going through this presently, I just want to just encourage you that you are not alone, in terms of there are many women. Look, I gave the statistics earlier that there are more than 1 in 10 women. That is a lot of women that suffer from postnatal depression. And my hope is that if you are feeling this way, if you have been affected by postnatal depression, that you are not keeping it to yourself, that you not deeming it to be shameful, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, you know what? Better you speak up and just get the help that's needed so that you can be the best version of you to look after your beautiful gift that you have. Okay, because those times being in postnatal depression, it can rob you, it can rob us of just really spending that quality time with our newborn babies. And you know, they are a gift from God, and so to feel ashamed because of what other people are gonna say, I just feel like that's quite, you know, that's quite a sad thing for us to have to kind of go through. The sooner a person gets help, the sooner the mother gets help, then the sooner they are able to get out of that state of depression. Okay, so please don't keep it to yourself. I have attached some links as well to this podcast. In fact, I'll just say the links right now as well. So there is www.mind.org. So when you type in postnatal depression, and you may see that come up, www.mind.org. And there's also www.nhs.uk. Now that would be specifically for England and the surrounding areas as well. And you can just find out a bit more about, you know, postnatal depression. Can you relate to the symptoms that they are that they have there in their website? And also there is pandasfoundation.org.uk. I'll say that again, pandasfoundation.org.uk. And you know what, there are quite a few other links as well. There's quite a few other resources as well in relation to postnatal depression. So if it's something that you are seeking help, then you should be able to look on those websites as well. But please do visit your health professional, whoever provides you your healthcare. Please do book an appointment and go and see them. You do not have to suffer by yourself. There's nothing shameful about postnatal depression. What you have done as a mother is so beautiful, bringing in a beautiful child or two or more into this world, and your body has gone through something, and you know there may be other things that need to be dealt with, but you can get the help. Okay, so don't keep it to yourself, okay, because you were given a gift so that you can be the best you can to your child. All right, so until the next time, please do take care, and join me back again for episode 22, where we're going to be delving into more on the health side. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Take care. This is your host, Glenna Oyajo. And believe it, and you speak it, and if you think it,